I was going to do this tomorrow morning, but I figured I may as well address it now while it's still fresh and after just watching the clip. And because we're dealing with load shedding, thanks to ESCOM. I just watched a clip of Podcast and Chill, the latest episode that came out. I'd like to send a shout out to the gents on 400 episodes deep. That's pretty dope. The Virtual Mkhukhu with me and DJ Spoo just hit 30 episodes as well today, which makes me very happy. I was saying to Spoo that I was hoping to get to 30 to 50 episodes. And then from there, we'd actually see if this thing is actually even anything or if people are actually reacting to it in a positive light. Shout out to Podcast and Chill. Shout out to MacGyver. 400 episodes, that's immense. It's a lot, and I wish you guys nothing but the best for the future. I can't wait till you guys get to 4,000 episodes. I'm a chiller. I joined a couple of months ago, which means I pay every month to be a chiller and to contribute to the channel, which has, I think, over 770,000 subscribers now. So on the episode today, Magchi was saying to Saul that there are podcasts or podcasters that have sold their soul. And he used myself as an example, saying that I sold my soul because if you compare the platform that myself and DJ Spoo have, the Hustler's Corner and the Virtual Mkhukhu, and you compare it to the Penuel Show, which is relatively new, it's pretty obvious that I've been captured by seemingly white capital. He also made an unnecessary poke, but I'll take it as a joke. Magchi talks a lot of shit, and it's one of the things people love about him, saying the sound is bad on the platform myself and Spoot have. Funny enough, we've actually struggled with sound on the Penuel Show and not with Usbu. I understand perception. I understand that the world is run on propaganda, and that in this country in particular, we're highly emotively fueled by race and race politics. And when there's a voice that we maybe like or maybe we are hearing, we're almost always waiting to hear of a white hand in the back that is using this person in some way. So let me start by clarifying. I joined DJ Spoo in February as a guest. I came as a guest again and a guest again. And then the third time I visited the Hustler's Corner, he asked me to stay. And I stayed, and we started calling our segment the Virtual Mkhukhu. And on Mondays, we drop our Virtual Mkhukhu segment on the Hustler's Corner podcast or channel on YouTube. During the same period, we decided to create our own Virtual Mkhukhu channel with myself, Spoo, and the gentleman who does our production, Justice. We've just crossed over 6,000 subscribers. It's relatively new. We don't have a lot of content, but we're very grateful. Spoo, out of his own pocket, has been funding Justice for the work that he's doing, shooting us, doing the editing, etc. Justice has worked largely by himself, which means he's been carrying a lot of strain. Here and there, he's had a little bit of support. Here and there, we've had issues, with timing, etc., etc. But that's normal, especially for a startup. DJ Spoo's got a decent business, More Fire. He's got an investment in Massive Metro that you guys know. I'd like to think he has other business interests, and he probably earns royalties from the music he's made under TS Records, maybe from some of the artists that had at TS Records, and any other business that he may have. I know he's in crypto as well. I know he's in property as well. He works with Accuses in Noble Properties. So DJ Spoo is a success story. He's failed, he's had his car repossessed, he's crashed, and he's spoken openly about it. But he's doing pretty well now. In his doing well, Spoo understands business and hustling, and he wanted to build the Hustler's Corner and the Virtual Mkhukhu through something called bootstrapping. That means using the littlest of resources to build, because that's the best way to build if you can, organically. And then as the channel makes money, we can take 5,000, 10,000, 2,000 Rand, and then get a few more microphones, maybe get another camera, maybe hire some people. That has been the strategy. And as someone who's been an entrepreneur for many years, I understand it. I wouldn't expect Spoo to take hundreds of thousands of his own money to invest in this thing. We don't know what it is. Podcasting in this country is relatively new. Even when MacGyver started, he started off because he'd been fired. He was just there with, I think, his MacBook or his laptop, a mic, and bad quality. I mean, if you look at his earlier episodes, he started off bootstrapping, not even by choice. That's all he had, and he's grown since then, and you can see it. It's different. We appreciate it. He's got a full team. I think they hired 30 people. They've got a sound person, they've got a fact checker, they've got the ghost lady, they've got cameramen. they've got editors, etc. It's a beautiful thing, and we're really proud of them, and that's why we support them. Some of us are still new. As much as I'm working with DJ Sbu, it's not expected that he must use his money, and Sbu is smart enough to bootstrap, and that's how we're building. And we're willing to make mistakes, and we're fine. The Penuel Show, on the other hand, is myself and a gentleman by the name of Utibucho Kibine. Debza and I have known each other for, maybe we're going on 10 years now. It's been a while. Debza's from AFTA. He's done great work with Offense Mwase, Uncle Scrooge, OM Films. He's been a cameraman. He's built his own production company with an amazing gentleman called Kieran Pennells. Kieran at some point left the partnership because he went to pursue his own endeavors and ambitions, which is fully allowed. Utebza and Kieran built Tribal Media House into a force to be reckoned with. 100% black-owned production company. Currently, I think they've got 4 reality TV shows on TV. Senkatele, Ebkosini, Umdende, which is the abuse of SASSA social grants, child grants in particular. And then there's another one which attracts or speaks about black tax. That's just on reality. That's reality TV on TV. They do corporate videos. They do other videos. They I think believe they've done music videos, etc., etc. They've built it into something amazing. Utebza is aggressively pro-black. He's aggressively pan-African. I've known him for a while, and over the last maybe 4 years, we've shot content together. This was before people got to know me. We've done a GBV series with a couple of people. That it was a very amazing series, and you can find it on the Tribal Media House channel. We shot some content last year. This was before I met DJ Sbu. Shot some content. Part of it was about the looting, or it was around the time of the looting. He dropped some of that content last year. He dropped some of it this year. There's a very nice clip which has trended a couple of times where I speak about the fact that kids are lied to. They go and they spend 17 years of schooling, and then after that there's no jobs, and then they lose their minds, they get desperate, and then they go into crime and they go into looting. Great videos, great conversations with myself and Utebza. We did some other segments where I was interviewing my brother, interviewing another gentleman, Yannick Wombo, speak about sports. Myself and Utebza spoke about other matters. It was a great time. We enjoyed it. They were still in Melville at the time. They've managed to move their studios to Randburg now. Tribal Media House, 100% black owned by a black brother that's pro-black, pan-Africanist. Through and through. Everyone who knows Utebza knows how pro-black he is, and he puts on black people because he believes black people need to be empowered. So this year, because they've moved to Randburg, and because Utebza it's got a good workflow for the reality TV and the other work they do, is like, Pen, I think it's time. I've got cameras, let's push, my dog. The cameras are sitting. I need to tell you a short story. The Fergusons, when they first shot, I think it was Rockville, they were given cameras by Mnet. Good, look, shoot this thing and let's see how it goes. It did really well. Connie Ferguson, Shona Ferguson, Ferguson Films. And from there, I think they got to keep the equipment, and because of that, and equipment is expensive at that level, they got to shoot so many other TV shows, which today have made them a household name or household brand. May Shona rest in peace, unfortunately. Utebza, because he's built his shows over the years, has managed to, with some of the money that is made, buy equipment. Very expensive equipment. Talking cameras that cost like 100K each. You know, very expensive equipment. And some of that equipment gets used for the productions, but because on certain days it's not used, it's like, Pen, the equipment is here, it's chilling, let's work. And I've got a team that works with me. Guy who does our camera work, black gent. Guy who does our sound, black gent. Guy who does our editing, black gent. We're working as a black collective, doing amazing work. Not because we're pro-black, but because we're gents that know each other, we're good at what we do. And we're trying to create quality content. Because we love the Joe Rogans of this world. Because we love the Breakfast Clubs of this world. Charlemagne, DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and other podcasts that have been coming up. Even Nick Huberman now, even Lex Friedman. Amazing podcasts. So we're learning from those people. And of course, we've been inspired by some of the success of Podcast and Chill, MacGyver. And because of the work myself and Sbu have done this year, I know Sbu in particular with the Hustlers Corner, so many other people have been inspired to start and grow their own podcasts. Myself and another good friend of mine, Usiabulela Nganga, who I interviewed for the Penuel Show last year, was shooting episodes. If you go on Limitless with Sia channel on YouTube, you can see some of the content we shot then. People didn't really know me then. We were doing this thing. I hadn't met DJ Spoo. We weren't trying to do, we were doing this stuff on our own. We were also starting in earnest, like a podcast and chill. Today, now that we're making moves, we're growing, we're being seen. It's sad to see the same guy that I've been a huge fan of for so many years that I'm supporting say things like I've sold out my soul. Perception. I don't necessarily blame MacG. I've been trending on Twitter and in the news lately because I've recently joined AfriForum as a paying member. Because of the work they've done with the Senzo Meyiwa case, because of the potholes they fill, the trees they plant, the border patrols that they do, holding government accountable, and. I've said it for years. It's not a new thing. I've said it for years that I'm a huge fan of AfriForum. If you look at my belief system, my religion, Penuelism, there's a chapter on admiring Afrikaans people. Way before I even knew a Rob Hersov existed. Rob Hersov did an amazing speech last year, triggered a lot of people. I made a video about it and he made an effort himself. Unlike other rich black people out there that I've spoken about, Rob took it upon himself to be like, I want to reach out to this guy. I like him. We met, we clicked. The same way I click when I meet a black business person, the same way I click when I meet an Indian Muslim businessman, the same way I click when I meet anyone out there. I like them. We click. Some people I don't like, whether it's white people, whether it's Indian people, it doesn't matter. I've met so many people in my life. You may not know me, but I've met a lot of people, influential people. And I clicked with this guy. Michael House, old boy, talks a lot of shit, comes from a really cool family, he's got a great story. Yes, he falls under white monopoly capital according to South African propaganda, but he's now given me a chance to get to know him and get to meet some of his people, and he's extended a hand. Something a lot of rich black people would never do. Another person from the Maponya family, Kulufelo Maponya, who I've also done an interview with, he also extended a hand. He was like, I like this man's brain. I like his mind. I want to spend, I don't have money. I've been driving a Toyota Test for the past couple of years because my business crashed in 2016. But he opened his door, he opened his home, I got to meet his people, I was networking. But that'll never make news because Maponya is a black person. It'll never make news. What makes news is this white guy. Rob and his wife Katie have been doing amazing work and they've been getting a lot of profiling this year, particularly building on from what happened from that speech last year. And it's because Rob, like a whole lot of South Africans, including white South Africans, including rich white South Africans, are frustrated with what's happening in this country. We've got endless load shedding. We now have water restrictions. There's rampant corruption. Things are not working, etc. SOEs are being sold. They said Jacob Zuma sold the country, but it's actually sold Ramaphosa and Pravin Gordhan, who seem to be selling off the SAA, who have broken down ESCOM and I want to sell it off. The ANC comes up with resolutions and then they don't implement them. And here we are. Rob and Katie, leading up to Rob's birthday now in October, Katie reached out to me. Pen, Rob really likes you. He sees the work you're doing and he'd like you to grow. This is a Rob who worked for Rupert Murdoch, a guy who runs one of the biggest media empires in the world. He understands the power of media. Very sharp, very intelligent guy. Pen, I see the work you're doing. I see you record on your phone, and I've seen the Penuel Show and he's kind of had an idea of what happens with myself and DJ Spoo. We would like to contribute to what we're doing. Not a lot of money. I've been running away from stating the amount, but I'll state the amount for you guys because I realize the danger of propaganda. It was 30,000 Rand. In the bigger scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. But to me, it's so much money. But it's not so much money that captures me and now I become a puppet of Rob Hersov. And Rob is not the first person to give me a 10,000 Rand, 20,000, 50,000. I've gotten family members, I've gotten friends, I've gotten black business people. As I said, I'm working with Utebza. Utebza's got equipment that, if you look at the Penuel Show, there's a chance that the equipment we use there comes up to probably 500,000 Rand. That's from the work that he's done. Am I now captured by Utebza? Am I a puppet for Utebza? Am I a mouthpiece? Or does it only suit people when it's a rich white person that they don't like? Again, I've said this before, when it's your favorites, when it's a Julius Malema with a rich white person, that's fine. When it's Cyril Ramaphosa, for those that support Cyril and the ANC, it's fine. When it's Jacob Zuma with Charles Senegal, who's a very wealthy farmer in KZN. When it's Jacob Zuma with wealthy Indian people in KZN, not the Guptas. When it's Jacob Zuma now with Louis Liebenberg, who has funded his court case, that's fine. When it's just a young unknown guy, Penuel, getting 30,000 Rand, which can buy you maybe 2 cameras, maybe a few microphones, all of a sudden it's a big deal. I've sold my soul, and that's very sad. So I'm addressing this because I understand that as my brand grows, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of heat and a lot of very incorrect propaganda, and I will need to address it. If I have sold out, or if I don't even know what selling out means, because I've said that I'm a non-racialist now. I want to work with good people regardless of race. If I have sold out, what selling out means is I go on platforms and I say, I'm fighting for black people, I'm here for black people, no, white people must fall. And then I do work that is contrary to that. You can call me a sellout. If I've gone on platforms where I used to be pro-black, the Buy Black movement, www.buyblack.org.za, and now I say, guys, I've moved from that. And I've spoken about it on the Hustlers Corner. And I've spoken about it with a good friend now, Nkululeko on Culture, his podcast, which is amazing as well. I've spoken about it when Unota Baloyi has attacked me as well. Unota's got an amazing heart. Says a lot of destructive things, but he's got a good heart and he's trying to do good things. And he's trying to put kids on in other podcasts. Something that people like, MacGyver are not doing. MacGyver's not going around trying to ignite other kids' podcasts, unfortunately. He doesn't necessarily give them shoutouts. He doesn't have to. It's not a requirement. But you compare him to people like Nota to try and see who's got the selfish versus the selfless ambitions. And UMacG, of course, has tried to keep Podcast and Chill pure, and he speaks his own mind. But we all know with great power comes great responsibility. Over 770,000 subscribers, crazy views, a lot of chillers that are giving them money. And I can only imagine. I can tell you now, if you look at the Penuel Show, as much as it's 2-3 months old, we might be making 15,000 Rand a month with the few views that we have. If you look at Podcast and Chill, they probably do 10 times our views. So there's a chance that from YouTube alone, they're making 150,000 Rand a month. Then you look at how much they're getting from the chillers. That on its own might be another 150,000, 200,000. MacG has said that the money they get from the chillers is way more than the YouTube money. Then there's money from selling Grandeur gin. MacG is very happy to speak openly and candidly and bash other people. Kespanyo Vest, DJ Maporisa. No, dog, but we gotta keep it real. This is pretty fucked up. You know what I mean, dog? Keep it real when it comes to the other stuff. How much money are you guys making? What happened with Saul, for example? Was there actually any beef? Is there any merit to what Unota said that you guys had spoken? Be open, because we're also trying to be open. I've said this to Nkululeko. Nkululeko is one of the podcast purists in this country that I love and respect and admire very much. And he's a very good analyst of human beings. I've said to Nkululeko, we don't know what podcasts are or what they will be in South Africa. This is still new. It's almost like the beginning of hip-hop. And what will happen when I said this to Nkululeko is people will collaborate. So I will maybe work with Sbu, I will maybe work with Podcast and Chill, I'll maybe work with Nkululeko, I'll maybe work with Nota, maybe we'll work with Nsigi Mazwai, maybe I'll work with Ulungelo, Engineer Your Life from KZN. We will work with different people, and it's cool and it's great. That's what music, hip-hop collaboration is about. Clicks will inevitably rise. Nah, this is the DJ Sbu, David Mashabela click. Nah, this is the intelligent conversations click. Nah, this is the gossip twerking click. No, this is the LGBTQI click of podcasts. This is the clicks will arise, and there will be beef. We saw people trying to get Saul and MacG to beef. Luckily, it didn't work. I believe Unota has been instigating so much unnecessary beef between myself and Sbu, between Saul and MacG, between other people. It's not necessary. And it's too early. We're meant to be focusing on creating. And I said to Nkululeko, then money's going to come in. And once money comes in, all hell will break loose. Certain people will become the Jay-Z's, the Damon Dashes, the Russell Simmons. You're going to get white people coming in, the Rick Rubins. I don't even know if Rob Hersov is interested in podcasts. And if he is, he's allowed to. Because DJ Sbu is interested in podcasts. Because MacG is interested in podcasts. Because David Mashabela is interested in podcasts. Anyone who is a businessman, anyone who sees the platforms and the power of media will want to jump into this space. That's normal. The fact that it's a white person now, we must lose our minds. Everyone has an agenda. I'm also fully aware of that. Everyone has an agenda. Whether it's a DJ Sbu, whether it's myself, whether it's a Saul Penduga, whether it's a Nkululeko Nkeu, whether it's a Sizwe Mpofu Walsh, whether it's in Tsigimas, it doesn't matter. Everyone has got their own agenda. My agenda has been to find good people as a non-racialist and to create good content and to have interesting conversations. I speak to Rob Hersov, I speak to Kulufelo Maponya, I speak to Siabulela Nganga, I speak to Rutendo Matinyarare, I speak to Joshua Maponga, I speak to MacGyver, I speak to anyone. And we have dope conversations and people get to hear their minds. It's not about me and my beliefs. It's not about who I've joined and who I'm giving money to. I give money to Podcast and Chill. No one is bashing me. I give money to AfriForum because they're doing good work. Now I get bashed. I give money to the Hustlers Corner. Oh, that's fine. I say, I admire what the guys in Orania are doing. Oh, all of a sudden I get bashed. There's something fundamentally wrong with the mindset of people out there. And it saddens me because it speaks to the inferiority complex of a black group. And it also speaks to the fact that people are not critical thinkers. And it's going to take a long time for people to actually differentiate between good white people and bad white people and good black people and bad black people. Because some of the people that you think are your champions are not here to build. They're here to destroy. And when some of these stories come out and we're painted as bad people, it's to suit certain people's agendas. And you guys need to be careful. As much as you tell me to be careful, this guy probably wants to use you, I'm fucking aware. If you've ever listened to me speak, you will understand how fucking intelligent I am. I'm very perceptive. I study human beings. I study anthropology. I study psychology. I study sociology. I study how human beings move. I study propaganda. I study the media. I study politics. I study business and economics. I study so many fucking things out there. You can't fuck around with me. And I keep quiet and I hold back and I move around and I laugh and I give my views and I speak about my kids and I say some wildish shit and then I say some good shit. Be very, very fucking careful. But just be careful of propaganda. I've said before, I am no longer pro-black. I'm a non-racialist. I want to work for the betterment of human beings and society. South Africans, the world at large. I will not be forced into a box which is going to ensure that bad black people are winning because other black people who are blind cannot see it. And where good white people are getting bashed and chastised because they happen to be white. And where good Indian people are getting bashed and good colored people are getting bashed and good Chinese people are getting bashed. All because. And there's hypocrisy in a lot of these things. In a lot of these things, there's hypocrisy. People that have gone out saying we're looking for sponsorships, we're looking for endorsement deals, we're looking for... No one was calling you captured at that time. No one was saying you sold out at that time. I have not been funded. I have not been funded by anyone. Pen, here's money, here's $500,000, here's 2 million. Do this thing. Again, I said 30,000 there. I've gotten a black businessman in this country who runs an amazing manufacturing business. He's given me 10,000 because he loves the work that Penuelism does. Kulufelo Maponya sponsored me a bit. Siabulela Nganga constantly feeds me and he's happy to sponsor me at any given time. And other people in my life. And then I get paid from YouTube. Small monies, 10,000 Rand a month. And then there are people that have become members. I may not have a lot of chillers. On my little platform, I've got 64 members. Not a lot of money. I probably get like 600 Rand from that. And then I've gotten people that have sponsored some of my videos, 500 Rand. I haven't gotten big brands like Old Mutual. I don't have a More Fire sponsoring me. I don't have a Grandeur. I don't have a etc. etc. And shout out to Nkululeko Nkeu and Itiski TV, which they've created, because World Sports Betting made sure that they pumped hundreds of thousands there for the work that they are doing. What are you trying to do? And so Pendua asked to Mekchi, but dog, weren't you also trying to build something like Mekchi's like, nah, dog, I was chilling at home. That's disingenuous. And you're taking the chillers for granted because that's not true. You are chasing the endorsement deals. You are trying to make the money. Yes, you may have started off where you started off, but you're trying to do that. I am not even trying to do that yet. I'm just trying to make dope content. But I am trying to put certain people's businesses on. 500 Rand, I get to mention you in a business, in a video. And if I get a deal, people will know because I'll say it. I've always been. If anything, I'm one of the honest guys. That's why I relate so much with Nkululeko Nkeu. Very honest, transparent guy. That's why I relate so much with Unota Baloy. As much as he may be destructive, the guy is open and honest as far as possible. Meanwhile, other people are not. Let's just be very, very careful in how we move. This is going to be like hip hop, maybe as it grows, and it could become wildly successful, and we could all be great. People can become rich, and we can change society and change lives. But let's not unnecessarily bash each other, especially at this early juncture. Let's not unnecessarily compete when we can actually collaborate, which I actually thought is what we were trying to do. And we can teach the world a better way of how to work together. Black people, white, there are white podcasts we still need to jump on. There are Indian podcasts we're going to need to jump on. There are going to be podcasts from other African countries we're going to need to jump on. We're going to need to go to America and jump on podcasts. We're going to need to go overseas to China where you're podcasting with someone who can't even speak English and there's a translator. We're going to go to Europe and let's have a fucking great time. It's too early to be creating unnecessary rifts, potentially, and it won't happen between some of us. It's going to be like politics. Myself and Mac G are going to laugh, myself and Saul and Spoo and whatever, but all the people on the ground are going to be divided, being forced to pick sides when that's not the case. Meanwhile, we at the top are maybe making money, we're cool, we're laughing at all the people, look at them, Let's not do that. Let's work together. Join Podcast and Chill as a chiller, carry on supporting them. Join the Hustlers Corner and become a hustler and join and support there. Join the Virtual Mkhukhu. Join the Penuel Show. Nkululeko on culture. Engineer your life. The podcast is Mpofu Walsh. Unpopular opinion by Nsigi Mazwai. Illegal podcast, even though they've trolled me a lot on Twitter. And everyone else who's trying to create something special. And we make money online and we go international and we do something special. I wanted to address this while it was early. Let me try and upload this now on YouTube as quickly as possible. I love you guys very much. Please share this video and let's get it out there. Let's dispel a lot of myths that are misleading and destroying us as a people. Have a good evening. Cheers.